Hey.
It's actually on.
Good morning. It's Fort Worth Playboy and
My Playboy's better.
welcome to the Morning Hustle this Saturday morning. And what do we cover on the Morning Hustle? We cover game, pickup, relationships, and
sex.
And it's a lot more exciting and interesting than one would believe from my initial presentation, I promise.
We were just laughing as we went live about how completely brain dead we are. So that gives you something to look forward to.
But we are here for you.
Fort Worth described it as falling forward.
Yeah, we're gonna. It goes live, and we're here, and we do what we got to do, and hopefully, we'll deliver some value to you this morning.
I believe so, because our first maxim of the morning is number 88. The fervor of a man's public declarations of fidelity to his woman positively correlate with an increased risk of cheating by either the man or the woman.
And this is one that I've never really discussed, even, in the year or two that I've been doing live video. And I don't know if you and I have ever discussed it. Because he wrote this before social media really took off.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, there's always, caveats to this. But how much of this is true?
Well, we have talked about privately and, publicly about how when it's the maximum.
No, I'm just reading. I'm just trying to really get my head into it.
Anyway, when like you see a post on social media that's like, oh, I just love my husband. He's just the best. Da, da, da. And it's like this long gushing Facebook post, kind of seemingly out of the blue. 9 times out of 10, she's been a complete asshole.
Oh.
And she's trying really hard to make it up to him, and she thinks that this public declaration will mean something to him, as if he gives a shit what she says about him on social media.
Yeah, he'd rather have coffee in bed or,
seriously,
a blowjob in the morning. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. Again, this is it's a unique situation, but I did, want your input on it because we've talked about this mostly in private.
Right.
We would notice this, and every once in a while, and have you ever seen gentlemen where they're like, "Oh, I love my wife," da da da.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Usually in our little world, guys kind of shit on that. It's not, it's not always. There's a time and a place, of course.
Yeah.
But it does tend to lend itself to it's revealing to something that's going on in the background. Like he got caught.
Right.
And he's so happy that she's still with him.
Yeah.
And didn't take the kids.
It's true.
Usually it's out of guilt.
I think that there are certain circumstances where those kinds of declarations are fitting. Mm-hmm. Number one, at the end of his birthday day, because there's a rule on social media that you have to go on social media, even if you never do, on your birthday, because everybody that you've ever known in your entire life is wishing you a happy birthday. It's just good form to kind of go through, say thank you every once in a while or whatnot.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, to say, hey guys, thank you for taking the time to wish me a happy birthday. It was a lovely day. And, thanks to my wife who made it extra special.
For sure.
Things like this, acceptable.
Because usually, just like in your case, it's the wife or the girl who's encouraging the men in her life to get on, like you did with your father.
Yeah.
You're like Dad once a year.
I text my father once a year about making sure he gets on social media because it's his birthday.
Exactly. And other people want to celebrate him.
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
Yes.
But it's a good point. And what's interesting too is sometimes every once in a while these longer gushing effusive posts will be revealing There's a few years back that a couple that we knew, the girl posted. I mean, he got her like a major piece of jewelry.
I think it was a like sapphire ring.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was,
This was at like
it was a non wedding. They were already
yeah,
married.
yeah. But it was like an anniversary gift or something.
Yeah.
And she mentioned it. She goes, you know, admittedly, I've not been that easy to love this last year. And we were like, what was that all about?
Yeah.
And this girl's really, what it came out is she was just an absolute terror. You
And
know?
he ended up cheating on her.
Yeah, he ended
And
up
he's
leaving her.
happily married now to the woman he cheated with.
Exactly.
And we went to their wedding.
I mean, it takes a lot for a girl to have that kind of, and not in a good way, but it's like you must have been an absolute terror
Oh my God.
to actually come out on social media and go, I've been difficult to be around this last year.
Yeah.
For most girls, they would rather die in a fire
Yeah.
than admit something like that.
Exactly.
You know? But yeah, they can be revealing if you actually read them sentence for sentence.
Well, and other times that I've seen where I thought it wasn't a setup for failure is like when a girl has a major accomplishment, like either health wise or at work. You know, sometimes, you know, there are men who will jump onto social media who are social media guys anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
make no mistake, it's not just randos, but who will say, my wife has worked her ass off for the last year and she's lost 50 pounds. And
That's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
About. That's it.
and way to go, you know, Trina. And that is not a setup for her cheating.
Or guilt.
You
or
know,
anything else,
exactly. You know, my wife just got a big raise. You really deserve this. Good job, baby. I love celebrating, you know, your accomplishments in your career. Things like that, okay. But just jumping on and randomly gushing, I
Out of
think
nowhere.
is set up for divorce. In fact, most people that we know who just randomly gush without any real context, it truly is like,
Something else is going on. In the
yeah,
background.
yeah,
And it sounds very gossipy, like us discussing it, but it's important enough that he wrote a maxim about it.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It has enough weight in relationships and in, you know, dealing with women and men that he wrote an entire maxim pertaining to it.
Well, and another example from our personal life that we could share, and we actually don't know what happened, but the guy has absolutely disappeared off the map, was there, you know, women share stuff, all kinds of stuff on social media. And a lot of times they share more than they think they are. Like one couple had recently gotten together. We already were watching her because we were like, oh, this is going to be good. She is an absolute mess. She's all over the place. And she ended up hooking this guy. They got quickly like engaged, married. They were too old. They weren't having children. It wasn't that she got pregnant or anything like that. They immediately, you know, needed the bigger house, the better stuff, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, then her birthday came along and she shared the homemade card that her family had made for her. And one of the kids had been like, I know it's been a really hard, you know, month for you or 6 months for you or whatever it was, year for you. You know, I'm so sorry. I hope that you and Mike or whatever his name was can get some time together to just relax on your birthday. It was like, oh, I mean, that kind of stuff
Weird stuff. Yeah.
reveals a lot about the source of the relationship. And literally, we never have seen or heard from him
He's
again.
disappeared.
He's just gone.
I don't know if she killed him and put him in the basement. Or, you know, but I mean, it's crazy, but it happens sometimes, you know.
But it's exactly like what
That's pretty
this
funny.
maxim is indicating. that-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, truly like Chateau wrote this like well before. I think he has very few references even to like Facebook and definitely not to Instagram.
Yeah.
you know.
But before social media, there was like, you know, the guy. Think of Will Smith on you know,
Absolutely.
you know, going gaga over Jada Pinkett Smith
Yeah.
at every turn, just like
It's almost like there's an inverse relationship. The more attention he puts on her,
Yeah.
the less she, in reality, she actually deserves it
Yeah.
or appreciates it.
Or
you know?
appreciation, I think, is
Yeah.
a huge factor. Huge. All right, these are in no particular order whatsoever. So that gives us all something to look forward to. All right. Oh, I can't read that. You you have no control over rejection. You have total control over your reaction. Why don't you dig into that a little bit more? I'd love to hear like what was behind this. What's your take on
The
this?
reason I sent this to you is because you're good about like conveying to men the difference between that. If you're cool, most guys. Okay, make no mistake. Girls do their very best to kind of like let guys down slowly,
Yeah.
slow, because even men that you know have reacted badly
Yeah.
to being turned down for a date or engagement or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And the thing with guys is that you don't understand is your buddies aren't going to tell you that they flipped out,
Yeah.
but they're flipping out in front of these women. And you know, and sometimes I think it's almost like you're in sales where it's the seventh no in a row. And even though he's like handled the first 6 rejections,
Right.
you know, well, the seventh he's like, yeah, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
You know, and it comes off badly, and so she thinks he's always like that. But in general, most men are going to throw the ball like once or twice in their lifetime, and they're going to get knocked down. You know, it's just, you know, the girl's going to,
Good point.
you know, just not have any interest, and he takes it bad.
Yeah.
So girls are loath to, you know, be straightforward with guys.
It's true.
But your job is, if she says yes, great. This is the plan.
Yeah.
If she says no, great. Talk to you later. And then you're out of there.
Yeah.
You need to be prepared and practice in the mirror if you have to. Just go, okay. Because it's okay. Because there's another girl coming down the pipe. That's the one thing that I've noticed with guys is consistently when they say, I've got this problem with this girl. I asked her out. I go, well, how many girls are you asking out in a day or a week? Oh, she's the only one I asked out this month.
Yeah.
Well, you need more girls in your life.
Exactly.
It is truly a numbers game, but you have control. You don't have control over her answer, but you do have control over your reaction.
It's true.
Now, it's so rare for a guy to have his shit together like us. And a girl turns me down, he's like, okay, have a great day. And then he's on to the next girl. What do girls think when a guy
and then
handles
she
it?
immediately, you know, second guesses her rejection of him because she's like, oh, he actually did not lose his shit on me. He doesn't seem to be all that bothered that I don't want to go out with him. Maybe I should go out with him.
Yeah. And sometimes girls they already have an agenda or they already have a guy in the background. Again, asking girls out, I can't convey this strongly enough, has so much to do with timing.
Yeah.
Where she's at. It's not you. It's what else she has going on in the background.
Right.
If she's attractive enough for you to ask her out, she's already fucking someone. She's not sitting at home, you know, knitting or taking care of the kids or any of that, or her mom or anything else. She's having sex with someone at some point during the week. So you have to know that usually there's an ex in the picture. There's already a dude that she wants to like not interfere with. She doesn't want him to notice she's seeing somebody else. But if you catch her the week after some guy dumped her, she'll probably be open to suggestion.
Yeah.
Rejection 99% of the time has to do with timing.
Yeah.
Girls are much more laid back about who they'll meet up with and fuck. They'll
Yeah.
give you a shot,
Yeah.
you know. But if she's already interested or some guy's got her on the hook or she's somebody's fuck buddy, she knows she's somebody's fuck buddy, but she's really hoping he'll become a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she's not going to jeopardize that by going out with you because she doesn't know you,
Right.
you know.
But let's take it deeper.
Okay.
So we talk about the front end reactions and responses a lot. What about beyond? Because it's as important that he not be insanely reactive whenever she says, when they've been dating for 6 months, and she says, I really can't go to that, or I really, I don't like when you do that, or like, you know, more like when they're actually in some version of a relationship.
Okay.
It's as important that
Right.
he not just like punch a hole in the wall every time she says, instead of doing that, could we do this?
Yeah.
Or could we just stay home tonight? Or
And because I haven't really considered that a whole lot, because usually I'm dealing with guys on the front end.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
But we deal with a lot of people who are in relationships.
True.
And you're in a
True.
relationship.
Yep.
And you don't, there are no holes in the walls. You've not punched on
You know, we
single
patch them
hole.
over. But Bunny has a reason that she's bringing this up, and so I mean,
Well,
she's
the
right.
reason is
She's
we
right.
don't only deal with front end dating.
Yeah, and
people.
I never really think my first reaction usually, and it usually is guys that are like, I'm so sick of asking these girls out, but you know, it's couched different, like when it's within a relationship. We're not talking about usually guys in a relationship, they reach out to us when the thing is actually on fire.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you
Yeah.
know, and this is good relationship management 101.
Right.
You know, how do you deal with if you want to go boating with your buddies?
Yeah.
And she wants you to stay home and go to a baby shower.
Oh.
It happens.
Oh, I don't even like going to baby showers. But, you know, I think that that's where there's like a balance between women love dangerous men. Women want a man who she feels like could kill her but isn't. And also, you know, he's not necessarily like he's not putting a hole in the wall, and then when her parents come over for Thanksgiving, there's like all this evidence of him like losing his shit. That's not good. So there's like, she wants a man who could throw her off the balcony, but chooses not to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is an important
So
point.
you're saying that guys have to find that balance.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think it's an easy thing, but it's very much like a self-control. It's a mind control. It's a keeping your shit together.
It is asking a lot. I mean, it's a lot. And it's like Bunny says, you know, you get these guys, let's say he's like 27, 28, when you're even crazier than ever, you know, but you have to be domesticated a little bit in order to operate within.
It's true.
You know, I mean, a lot of it has to do with like, you can't be crazy around kids, you know, when the kids come. And so she has to be able to trust that you can have a bad day and not like lose your shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And not all guys can. I mean,
No.
not all of them.
No.
They weren't made for it. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got good morning, Bunny in Fort Worth. Love from London, England. I love that. That's awesome. And then Balancer has a good question for you. How did you discover Chateau?
I stumbled on it when I was looking at. I first discovered, you know, go through after my divorce, and I'd already been into what do they call it, like self-development through being in business for myself. It's just part of it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have mentors, you don't have anybody to guide you, so you have to guide yourself. And through personal improvement, I found RSD, which Real Social Dynamics.
Yeah.
Tyler Durden, and then bumped up against Chateau, you know, in Dow Rock, and Rollo was already commenting but I don't think he had actually written a book yet. He was still in the developmental stage. This is like 2007, 2008. Don't hold me to the dates.
Yeah.
But Chateau had already been writing for a couple years, and I stumbled on it, and the very first time I read it, I thought there's something here. And it wasn't much longer after that. I thought, this is so unique. It's not going to be able to be reached for forever. So I started saving stuff.
Right.
And, you know, and then it was years later that, you know, I came out with, you know, because they had taken his website down.
Yeah.
You know, and he went over and he went to politics all the time.
Yeah,
You
he's
know.
pretty politically driven now. But I think it's interesting because when you're reading through Chateau's maxims and all of, I mean, he's like layer after layer after layer of information and stories and parables, and he kind of covers all the bases in order to make sure that you guys, that we all get what he's saying, that we take the lesson in. But truly, he is talking about psychology 101. He is talking about gender studies to a certain degree
You will
101.
find science that backs up his.
Yeah, but it's truly, you go, oh, I learned about that whenever I took psych class, da da da. It's really fascinating the way he's able to take kind of information that we generally know and understand and really apply it to dating, relationships, pickup, female dynamics, relationship dynamics. So it's really,
Evolutionary psychology.
yeah, truly.
When we first, a lot of times before the early 2000s, guys were like, yeah, it's just luck.
Yeah.
Or we had like neurolinguistic programming, where
Yeah.
you use certain phrases, but none of it, it was coming, but it wasn't like this. Like Mystery already had his book out, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I stumbled on it.
Good question. Good question. All right, you handsome devil. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Next. Girls put themselves in the proximity of men they hope to meet. Absolutely accurate.
Yeah. I mean, that's I can't make. They're not going to talk to you. They're not going to make eye contact with you.
They'll make a little eye contact.
Maybe. But the joke, yet actuality of it is, you go to a party, you go, I wonder which girls are like interested in me. Look over, not directly, but over to the side, and if you see three girls, it's the girl with her back to you. That's who's interested in you, because she's asking her friends, "Is he looking at me?" Yeah, he's looking at you. Okay, what's he doing now? They will not even, but they will put themselves. And they'll tell you, and girls will every once in a while they'll like drop like a story where they like take an hour to get ready every day because they know this guy that they've never spoke to walks down the hallway.
Yeah.
And she'll pass him.
Yeah.
And that's all she's going to do. They will put themselves in your proximity. They will not risk any time. Some girls will go to further. I mean, you see some TikToks where girls go, yeah, I saw this guy and I tracked down his mother. I became friends with his mother.
Woo.
She introduced us.
Yeah.
And women all go, yeah, okay.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. And if a guy, admitted to that, they'd be like, oh my God, he's insane. He's a stalker. I mean, I don't know if I should be with him anymore.
Oh, we get accused of that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts. But I mean, girls will to different degrees.
Yeah.
Because one, they have a fear of rejection. That is what, the average answer. But remember, women want things to just happen. It's like why they hate being on dating apps, by and far, because they're having to take action to make something that in their mind, and I mean deeply embedded in their head, things should just happen. Like they should just be like every fucking Sex in the City episode, just walking down the street to her jobby job, and Mr. Big shows up. Just happened.
He just ran
into her, and she just was overwhelmed with her beauty and charm. Done. And then she's married. And they want to believe.
It did take her about 10 years to get him to marry her. I will say, just for the record, he left her at the altar once, like all kinds of stuff. It was very dramatic.
It's everything a girl could hope for. And it was all just happening. Girls, remember, sex has to just happen. You have to make it happen. Everything for a girl in her mind. But so that's why and there's also the fear of rejection, and they're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
But you need to be aware of, if a girl is in your proximity, if you run into a girl twice, it's probably not by coincidence. You have nothing to lose by talking to her.
Yeah.
Guys are like, I don't know. You just open your mouth. No sex has ever happened without a guy saying hi.
That's right.
You got to start with, hey, what's up? Just something, anything, get the conversation going. And that's why I tell guys, you just go. And if they're nearby, there's a reason they don't set themselves up They will not sit right next to you just by chance.
Right.
You know, sometimes, I mean, you're talking about like a crowded room, there's no other chairs, but they do it begrudgingly if they don't know you, you know, so.
So Fort Worth and I met online, but when I met my husband, it was very much a proximity thing. So we were in a class together. We were sitting kind of across from each other. Every once in a while we would like make eye contact. And then one morning I realized that we had pulled up to the parking lot at the same time.
That's good.
And you can bet your ass that every day after that, I made absolute sure that I had a cute little matching outfit, that I had my toenails painted, that I had everything was perfect, and that I was there at that exact time so that we could accidentally, on purpose, walk together up to the university. And
that is great.
He said, hey.
Hey. And that's how children are formed, right there. By walking in a parking lot, somebody says, hey.
Exactly.
And then you end up like with children. Sometimes sooner than later.
25 years later.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, and he was just going about his day. So many guys end up with a wife.
And he had no intention of ever
none. They're not wanting to get married. They have no plans on getting married. They're like, no, kids, I don't know. Maybe when I'm 70.
Kids.
Yeah, maybe when I'm 100. Maybe when I'm dead, they can use my sperm.
Joke's on him. He got lots of them.
Yeah, it's nuts. That's pretty funny. That is a good example. And it happens a million times a day.
Yeah.
So if she's nearby, hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? They'll pick up on the small talk themselves. It happens all the time.
It's true.
You know,
it's true.
They're not there by accident.
All right, we've got some great questions here. Jake, is it a good idea to use the idea of watching the Olympics to get women to meet for the next week or so? It can't hurt.
Why not?
Yeah. It can't hurt to use things that are universally popular.
You want to come over, have a drink, we can watch the Olympics together.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a CrossFitter, get together and have a CrossFit Games watch party. You know, if you are a cyclist, get together and watch the Tour de France. I mean, like, there are lots of course, we think of all the if you're a chess player, watch, I don't know, the Grandmasters. But like, there are lots of opportunities even outside of physical activity to do exactly that, to get together and have meetups. I mean, and kind of, you can make it, I think it's a good idea with stuff like that to make it seem like a little bit more of a small group event. But it's a good, it's a good excuse to just kind of have a girl over, eat pizza, and watch the Olympics.
Again, put yourself, if it's somebody and you already kind of have her, like, you want to move this girl to sex, have a plan.
Yeah.
It's not just going to happen by itself. Say, hey, you want to come over and watch track and field or whatever it is that you guys have a shared interest in.
Yeah.
And you can have drinks and you can relax and then you can move her to sex. It's called in marketing, it's called entering the conversation in the prospect's head. Like timely events, stay away from politics, of course, because that's all that's going on right now sometimes.
In the U.S.
Yeah, in the U.S. But sports or a fitness pursuit that you both enjoy is definitely a topic that you can bring her into your world with. It's something that you two have that's unique between y'all. But yes, always leverage that. That's just being smart.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be a lounge, a neutral lounge. But again, remember what you're there for.
Yeah.
Your job is to move her from stranger to naked and in your bed. Have a plan to do that. You may not carry it out the first night. That's okay. You can carry it out the second night. That's.
Yeah. Well, and I will say also, not knowing exactly what's in your head specifically.
Yeah.
If you already know the girl to some extent, if she's social circle, if she's kind of a little bit familiar, you can say, hey, why don't we get together and get a pizza and watch the Olympics at my house? If she's a stranger, you can still use that. Know what bars are watching the Olympics, and have that be your first meetup place. Now that doesn't mean the Olympics have to be on at every bounce location.
And you may not even.
And you probably won't even look at it.
No.
It just gives you the initial reason to get together, and that's a win.
Good job. That's perfect. That's a great question.
That is a great question. We've got a lot of great questions here.
Let's go
All
for
right,
it.
next we've got Adrian. How to add that excitement to a 20-year marriage. Man,
Yes.
I'm so passionate about this topic. I did a whole course on it. Ignite Your Wife. It's amazing. 30-day course. I'm just putting that out there. myplayboysbunny.gumroad.com. But the short answer is, the not 30-day answer is, never stop dating. There are always emergencies. There's always fire, blood, or broken bones going on. But short of that, put your relationship with your spouse as absolute top priority. Now, there are always going to be times when you look like you're having a stroke.
I'm reading. Go
Well,
ahead.
don't do that. You
Okay.
look crazy. So there are always going to be times when you're working on a big project at work. You have to focus on that. You've got a big meeting coming up. You have to focus on that. One of the kids is having to have surgery. You have to focus on that. You've got a parent that is having some health problems. You have to focus on that. That's the problem with adulthood. But remember, in all things, that the more you put other people ahead of your spouse who you chose to live this life with, the worse your relationship becomes, the more distant it becomes. It may look fine on paper, but it's truly, it turns into just a very unromantic roommate kind of situation that turns unhappy on a dime. So all it takes when life starts getting in the way of your marriage, it takes very little to make that completely fall apart. It makes someone at work giving her a little bit of extra attention to distract her, and suddenly start seeing flaws in you. It takes you thinking, I never have intimacy with my wife. I just need someone to fuck and to like hold me sometimes, to let me snuggle with her. And he's seeking that from somewhere else. He's at a bar with buddies one night, and a cute girl at the bar shows that interest. So it doesn't take much when you become a roommate with your wife to completely destroy the entire family. And then the in-laws, are shit on, the kids are shit on. You have to split the house. You have to split everything. All because you did not prioritize the relationship that even biblically you are supposed to put everything else aside, leave your mother and father, and be united as one with your spouse, and put him first in all things. It never says in the Bible, put your kid first. It says, it doesn't matter if that kid has a sporting event today. It doesn't matter. We had a rule in our family that each kid was allowed one activity at a time. So if you wanted to take piano lessons, that means you weren't going to be able to do Aikido lessons. If you chose to be on a sports team this season, that means you don't have time to do, this chess club. Like, whatever the case may be, it's not about quitting a team, because I also didn't allow that. But the key was, especially when you have children and multiples, especially, you guys running all over the place and never seeing one another, except like when you collapse into bed at like 10:30 at night, is not the key to a happy, long-lasting marriage and relationship. It's not sexy. You have to never stop dating your wife.
One thing I'll interject
Yeah.
is a lot of people go through this, and you hear people at like 30, 40, 50-year anniversaries. Usually it's the wife. They'll be like, there's like 5 years. I didn't know if we were going to make it. Guys will gloss over it and think nothing of it. But this is normal.
It is.
And we're not talking, and that's one of the things, especially with like younger people, they think a trial of 3 to 5 years is just too goddamn much.
Yeah.
Because they're in it for a year and they're, nothing's ever lasted a year.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever lasted more than 4 years other than college, and they've been in a job for never more than 3 years. So your timelines are longer because this is a big project. It's kind of like businesses. Sometimes you have to look at the long game, but it's as common as the 50-year marriage is that they had 5 years where they were like hating each other, but they weathered it.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just weathering it.
It is.
And then it's forgotten.
Yeah.
But
that's absolutely true.
Yeah, the longer the marriage, the greater the chance of like having a 2, 3, 4, 5 year bad spot.
Yeah.
And it can be caused by his drinking. It can be caused by a disease issue with her. It can be caused by menopause. It can be caused by difficult children.
Absolutely.
So,
all of it.
So just know it's normal.
It is normal.
Yeah.
Very normal. Very normal. All right, we've got some more questions, so we probably aren't going to have time to get to any more slides.
It's fine.
But we've got a lot of great comments
We'll take it when
and
we
stuff.
get.
Yeah, it's awesome. So thank you guys. All right, question for Bunny. I haven't actually read this yet. When women reject men, I need to wear my glasses. When women reject men, do they appreciate the balls it takes for us to approach? Daytime, I don't care so much for night approach, but either way. They assume it's drunk attempts. Okay. So I think that very few women really understand that it takes a lot of gumption for a man to cross the street or approach a woman in any circumstance. I don't think that most women appreciate that. I'm sorry.
Most women don't appreciate anything.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is the problem is it happens all the time, so we don't think as much of it. And this is true whether she's a 10, a 9, an 8, a 7, or a 4. Men are talking to her, tripping over themselves to ask her out all of the time. I don't think you guys really have a concept that you don't have to be young, you don't have to be attractive. You literally just have to have be a female, and you have men tripping over you all the time to touch you, to talk to you, to ask you out, to find out what your schedule is, you name it.
Guys can talk about the wall all they want. You get a girl that's height and weight proportionate in her 40s, 50s. If she doesn't have her kids with her, there are men hitting on her. And I did a tweet on this earlier. Guys do not have any concept. They can't get gas. They walk down the street. They walk to their car. They open a door. They go to the dentist. They're driving down the street, and men will, hey, now your buddies are never going to tell you that this is how they behave, but it's what is happening. They will try to stop girls driving down the street, and it happens all the time. Bunny kind of clued me in. She's like, you don't see it because you're a guy, and she and I are around each other far more than the average couple.
Right.
But once you do, guys are touching her, guys are talking to her, guys are opening doors for her, guys are making eye contact, hoping to spark a conversation. And this is all girls pretty much. You know what I mean? You have no concept. And girls will deny this because they only see the guys that they ended up in a 2-year or more relationship with.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, nobody ever hits on me. There was like my first boyfriend and my college boyfriend and then my husband, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Always got my kids with me. And even I have guys that'll reach out and go, hey, how do I approach a girl with kids? I'm like, yeah, let's not do that. It's just bad form.
Good question. Good
It's pretty
question.
funny.
All right, next. Morning, Fort Worth and Bunny. Do you have any tips or tricks for meeting or attracting girls at a mutual friend's wedding?
I picked up a little bit of this. Well, yeah, it's a social event,
Yeah,
and women love weddings. You have a reason to be there. So who do you know, the bride or the groom? And you can go from there. Now,
that's all you have to
yeah.
say to open.
do you know the bride or the groom? And go. That's it. I mean, and then the girl can go, well, I was, college roommates with the bride. Da, da, da,
Yeah.
So that is your open. And worst case scenario, and I don't think I read the entire question, was like, if you're more on the shy side, you can ask for an introduction.
Yeah, that's true. I will say there are a couple of rules for social events like this. Don't be the drunkest guy in the room. So you want to be outgoing, as outgoing as you can, or as outgoing as you can fake it, because you want to be comfortable. So when I approach a room like that, no matter what my position is in the wedding party, like whether I am just a guest or if I'm actually part of the event in some capacity, you have to approach events like this like you are the host. Be fearless in talking to everyone. Just it's a social event, so it's meant to be social. People aren't meant to be standing alone in separate corners with their drinks in their hand, like just distracting themselves from the fact that they are at a social event. Use this for all it's worth. Have some drinks, get comfortable, mingle, talk to everyone. Fort Worth, that's the perfect opener to talk to anyone. Talk to men and women, just so it doesn't look like you're just this.
The girls will notice if you're just making.
That's right.
If you're just hitting every attractive girl under the age of 25.
It's true.
Someone will notice that.
It's
That's
true.
really funny.
So talk to everyone, because oftentimes you'll attract a girl by talking to her father, her brother, a friend of hers, kind of like social circle, a little closer into the social circle. Don't lose track of your alcohol though.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the night, sloppy drunks are not sexy.
They're not
welcome. And
welcome.
at weddings especially, or New Year's Eve parties, things like that, it's really easy to kind of hit that tipping point and go overboard, and it's no longer sexy. Then it's like, oh, he wouldn't be able to perform even though I was attracted to him.
Yeah, you have a job to do.
Yeah.
To be social, to be, welcoming. And again, this is another example of where proximity will work. Girls will put themselves within your reach at a wedding should she want you to talk to her.
But we talk about all the time, essentially pretending like you're the mayor of the area.
Yeah.
You get out there and you talk to everyone, because that puts you in a place of power. And girls are attracted to power. If she thinks that you're the most powerful man in the room, even at a wedding, she will naturally be drawn to you, whether you're her type, whether you look like anybody that she's ever dated before, or anybody that she'd ever thought about dating before. It will naturally just attract her that you are kind of mixing and mingling with everyone. It's attractive.
It really, just being social goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I've seen other guys mention this, is just being social puts you a step above the average guy who can barely talk his way out of a paper bag. So,
yeah.
Because girls don't want to have to do all the lifting. They've already been out with boring guys.
Yeah.
Like the day before.
Like at lunch that day.
Yeah.
I love it. Are you ready to close this baby down?
Yes. Is that it? Is that all?
Well, it's
time.
Yeah, it's time.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Fort Worth Playboy.
I'm my Playboy's buddy.
And if you would like any of our products, including the 30-day.
Yeah, Ignite Your Wife 30-day. I don't know why that does that.
Is that us or is that somebody else?
I think that's
pretty funny.
us. I don't know.
You can find Bunny's products at myplayboysbunny.gumroad.com. You can find my stuff at fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your comments. And if you have anything else to add, just put it in the comment box And we look forward to talking to you Monday morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah, there was a lot of great conversation in that chat box. So, guys, if you have time, go through it. It was a good conversation on the side, asking great questions. We really appreciate your input and your interest, and you know, you're talking amongst yourselves also. That iron sharpens iron. So this is a great kind of environment to be in.
Have a great day.
Bye. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Balancer.